Hey, this video will cover JBII, JBI Incorporated. This has been one that I've been following for a while, and I won't lie, it was a very boring stock. And the reason I say that is if you look down here and correspond that with the months, you can see that for the longest time it just went sideways, sideways, sideways in this little tight range. So I suppose you could have maybe flipped it back and forth a little bit here. But for most people, myself included, it was just kind of a yawner. Not too much was going on, but it was one of those where it's kind of a strange pattern because it had a very definite top pattern or top resistance level at about 119, 120, and then yesterday, or I should pull that back. It makes a good little chart example too because we had this this high here where there's a bunch of 119s, 120s, and then we had this was on Monday, volume kind of pick up, and you had this candle here kind of peek its head up. Now this wasn't a buy signal in itself because it was still hadn't broken 120, but just a good example of how when you see these little bursts of volume and then you see some price reaction, it's a reason to at least put it on your watch list, if not towards the top of it. And then yesterday, the volume finally came, big volume. Yes, only 196,000 shares, but you got to remember the price per share is up over $1, so the dollar volume adds up much quicker. And you can see the results. Really a nice move. So I actually did a static annotated chart on this yesterday and talked about the future resistances and supports. I had mapped out this level here as the next kind of key resistance level to get through. And then I'd also pointed out how this $1.49 area was, one of those areas where you should keep, an eye on it for support. So this would have been green for support. This was red for resistance. So let me just quick update that. And you can see what happened today was the price opened up. So we had a gap down actually, and it opened at $1.45. So anybody that had noticed that I would have seen, hey, look, a buck 49 is right around the area of support. It opened up at a buck 45. This may be a good entry. So obviously some people bought down here, and you can see they reaped the rewards as it was another good day. Volume wasn't quite as strong, but still, dollar volume wise, plenty of liquidity to make some money in there. And the other thing that occurred was just simply it got up and broke above this previous resistance, which now turns this into a support level. I'm going to make that a skinny support because it's not like we closed way above it, so it's a level where if the price does fall below it, nothing to freak out about. But technically it is still a support level nonetheless. So the updates that need to be made and so forth. Actually, let me take a step back. I want to point out one other thing about this. You can see that this longer term pattern, and I say longer term, I'm talking 5-6 months, has pretty much been sideways, but at the same time we did have an uptrend flow to it. I mean, back here in let's see, late June we had a low of 65 cents. Then when it pulled back here in late July, then it only had a low of 77 cents. Then we had a pullback here in early September. Now the low was $1.01. Once again here, actually this low was actually below, so probably not the best numbers to pick. But what I'm trying to get at is the overall trend was upwards during this whole time period, yet it kept bouncing off pretty much the same area of resistance here. So when it's finally broken out, you can see the results. But now the updates that need to be made, besides turning this one into a support, is where is the next level of resistance at? And that simply is coming from right here, the high of this candle, which is valued at, let's put $1.90. So $1.90 is going to be the next key area of resistance. And what you could do, because this high over here is at $2, we could just make this a resistance zone if we wanted to, in terms of just making it a 10-cent area and saying this is all resistance, because after $2, it's completely blue sky, so that's where things could get pretty interesting. But nonetheless, we've had quite a few updates, so don't be surprised to see any sort of pullback. And on that note, if there does pull back, nothing to freak out about. As long as these support levels hold, then that's fine. I mean, it could technically pull back here to this $1.49 area, go sideways a little bit, and head back up, and you'd still have a beautiful chart where we had a breakout, consolidation, and then another move up. So I know some people freak out at the word of pullback or anything implying the price going down. But price pulling back is not a bad thing, especially if it's on low volume and the key support levels do hold. So in any sort of pullback, ideally you do want to see this $1.49, $1.45 area hold strong. And assuming this is a true strong move, then that area shouldn't really have any problem holding down there. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Overall, though, very good looking chart. Congratulations to everybody that noticed this $1.20 break and were able to hop in down here. Some nice profits could be made, and once again, the liquidity has been pretty nice because shares are, a lot of this trading's happening above $1.40 now, so that dollar volume does add up. If there are any other questions on the chart, please shoot me a message, and I'll do my best to help you out. I'd also encourage you to check out bullwarriorstocks.com. If you go there and subscribe to the free newsletter, you'll be sent a free ebook which goes over tips and tricks on how to use charting to pull profits out of the market. With your subscription, you'll get chart setups, trading ideas, educational pieces, all sorts of things from penny stocks up to big boards. So there's a good variety, something for everybody, and everything's free, so it's worth at least checking out. One more time, this was JBII. Thanks for listening.